Yes.
Yeah, base 28, so we're starting shortly. Might as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it. Just make sure we have enough.
Barb's not gonna be here.
There's going to be several, I think, that are going to be here.
Barb sick or anything?
I don't think she's sick. She's in Indiana.
She what?
She's in Indiana.
No. I worry about her.
David's going to be here. Get started then. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Everybody please stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Kenny Barr, Barbara Bennett, Mark Bennett, Teresa Bain,
Here.
Paul Canady, here. Brian Kaufman,
Here.
Dennis Durnovich,
Here.
Jesse Durbin,
Here.
Julie Edwards, Gary Gergany,
Here.
Ron Height,
Here.
Larry Lenz,
Yes.
Robert Orman,
Here.
Gary Patterson,
Here.
Derek Piercy, John Poe,
Here.
Robert Simpson,
Here.
Jeff Slifer, David Switz, Don Tate, Lynn Williams.
Here. Okay, we have a quorum. Well, this is a valid meeting. We'll start with public body comment. Any public body comment? Any public body comment? Okay, I want to move to number 5 since we have our Assistant State's Attorney here to answer any of these questions if we need to. Open the floor for any discussion and vote on board size. Eric?
I'll tell you something. So after Thursday last week, I think it was about 3 in the morning, I had about, I don't know how many different thoughts anyways, but we were kind of stuck. We both pulled our motions because there's some new information from UCCI that said, you know, we couldn't change from a multi-member to a single-member district. And the case they were referencing, I went and read through. I don't think their analysis was 100% correct on it. That was more asking for a judge to enforce it. But even still, there was some light reference to the state constitution, which refers to the method of voting. Method of voting being going from like a multi-member to a single-member district. And I think there is some problems with doing that. However, the other issue that we have is that to redraw the lines, it was 90 days or something from that company to do that.
We're up against
60
time.
Right. So to draw brand new lines from scratch doesn't leave us any time, and we can't go from multi to single probably. There's enough question in my mind. I think that might be a constitutional violation that I think that the voters have to decide if we change that method. Excuse me. So the problem with the 17 or the 11, either one, is single member districts is the only way you can do that because it's only divisible by 1 or 17 or 11. there is another way that we could actually do this. When the census is done, they do these in groups called block groups. It has the population, they've already got it mapped out, and you can combine those block groups. The lines are already drawn for you. And if you were to do 5 districts, it provides you larger districts. You don't have to redraw all the maps because you're using the census data that's already been provided to you. And I believe you should be able to get the addresses from all of the census data collected within those block groups using those block group numbers then too. So in that scenario, you would have 5 larger districts of equal numbers. It actually comes out to, you can do it within 2% of each other, combining some of those block groups. And you have to be within 5% of the other districts then. Now when you have a 2,000 member group, that means you only got 100 people to work with. That's a lot more of a precise map that you're going to have to work with. When you go to like 5 districts, it creates a larger district. Now you're 5% because you got 200 people, give or take. So you don't have to be quite as precise with those maps, which is why you can use the block groups from the actual census data to draw that then. I believe that could be drawn in-house if we're using that data directly from the census. Then it would bypass that process of having to outsource the map drawing and save us a whole lot of time. It could be done pretty easily. You can hire that out. It's not required by law to do it. It can be drawn here, but the problem was the precision that was going to have to be applied to get to those maps was going to be a little bit prohibitive unless we use like the block groups from the census data. And this was something that you can get all that data from. Districtbuilder.org has all those block groups on there. So in my opinion, you can see like from the forensic auditor, there's a lot of issues to work through. The other stuff, I don't know if anybody looked through some of the census data. We lost 6% of the population in the last decade here. That's 1,400 people from the last census to now. We've lost 1,400 people. They're gone. They didn't go to another county around us. They left the state. They're gone. If that continues, well, right now, as it stands, that's 1 in 16 people in the last 10 years have left Shelby County. If that continues and doesn't even accelerate between now and the next census, and we lose another 1,400, that's 1 in 8 people that aren't here anymore. That's pretty significant. If you look at the color counties, we discussed that too. It was between like 9 and, or not color counties, but around the border counties, I guess, between 9 and 15% of people left those counties too. I mean, that's a huge number. I don't see the catalyst in which we lose 12% from last census to the next one, that 12% of those people are going to come back into this county. So, I mean, you're losing revenue, and in my opinion, you need a slightly reduced, more hyper-focused board on, resolving some of the issues we've got. That money's got to come from somewhere, and people are leaving. So, I don't know how else to resolve that. But in that scenario, you do 3 members per district, 5 districts. Use the census block group. To draw the lines in-house, I believe. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on it.
Correct me if I'm wrong, just the only thing issue I really have right now with anything you said was we signed a contract with,
They've got the chat. They called me this week and wanted to get started.
so how easy is it to null a contract with them or void a contract? Or is it possible?
Probably not at this point.
That's my concern, because we voted at the last board meeting to hire them, correct?
Yeah. I haven't seen a contract, but typically if you're in a contract, unless there's some way out of it in the contract, you gotta go through it.
Okay. I just want to point that out to everybody before anything else went on. Bobby?
What if we had to draw it for five districts?
They can do, I mean, they can do,
I'm
all
just-
they want to know is the number of districts this board wants to go with.
I'm just trying to be open and transparent, letting everybody know we have a contract. I like the idea of what you did there, Derek, I really do. It's the time and whether they can do it. And they have to do it, we can't do it ourselves because we've already,
Because they use this block group data.
I assume they could. I don't. I'll be honest with you, I haven't been in contact with them this week. I've been living in the combine all week, so it's been kind of wild. Any other? Jeff?
When you add them up, what's the total population there under the law group?
So, your total population is 20,990. That's what our new census data is.
Is that the map that you're using there?
Yes, that's what these numbers here, that's their block groups when they did the census. The average district size is 4198. It's plus 1.8% there and minus 1% there, so you're within the 5% if you're using those block groups. So, yeah, I mean, I got 3 in the I got some anyway, but yeah, I mean, it puts you within the tolerance range of doing those 5 districts. If you start breaking it down smaller, it's harder to work with some of those different block groups that exist. So.
Anyone care to make a motion for anything? I'd say our 2 options are Eric's option and having Bruce Harris do the maps just because we've already contracted through them. The other option just, I think, is stay where we're at. So
I'll make a motion to stay where we're at.
I'll second that.
okay, now we can discuss that motion. Any discussion?
Staying at that number, at the number we're at, just seems like, as a board function, and this is something that I've seen over the last 2 years, I feel like the board function is, well, they're going to take care of it, or they're going to take care of it. Well, they were relying on you to take care of it, and then nobody took care of it. Whatever it is, nobody took care of it. And like Derek said, we reduce the numbers, and accountability starts going up, and we get, like he said, a hyper-focused board, and I think we'll start functioning better. But I just think 22 is entirely too many. We have an option to go. So I'm not in favor of 22.
Gary?
I hate to guess myself. I would be against a small reduction of like 18, but I guess of the people I've talked to, I think going to 15 is too much. I think we do have a lot of work to do, but I'm not sure a lot of our problems don't exist because we didn't have full committees. Committees didn't get the work done. We just didn't do business as we should. And whether we have 15 or 22, I think the first thing we've got to do is get back to basic business plan of doing things correctly. The right people in the right places. I've been in some meetings the last month with some districts or some counties that did greatly reduce their districts, and they all said they all felt it was a mistake because they said now they're not getting their work done at all, and so they got small committees and they're not getting things done, and their encouragement has been to not make your committees too small or not make your board too small.
Any other discussion? Any other discussion? So we've got a motion made, properly seconded to leave the board size at 11 districts, 2 members per district. Do we do roll call or do you want to do voice? What do everybody want?
Roll call.
Roll call? We'll do a roll call.
And the roll call's 11 districts, 2 members.
Yes is to stay the same, no is to go a different route.
Kenny Barr.
Yes.
Teresa Bank.
Yes.
Paul Candidate. No. Brian Kaufman.
No.
Dennis Sturdivich.
Yes.
Jesse Durbin.
Yes.
Gary Gergeny.
No.
Rod Height.
No.
Larry Lenz.
Yes.
Robert Orman.
No.
Gary Patterson.
Yes.
Derek Piercy.
No.
John Poe.
No.
Robert Simpson.
Yes.
Jeff Slifer.
Yes.
Lynn Williams.
Yes.
Motion passes 9 yes to 7 nays with candidate Kaufman Gergany, Hyde, Warman, Piercy, and Pogue voting against.
All right. Thanks for all your work there. Appreciate it. We're going to move to number 4 now. Discussion and vote on farm committee recommendations for fall maintenance of the county core farm. Jesse Durbin will present.
Okay, bear with me, I've been living in the combine too. But the committee met a couple times and we're trying to discuss a solution to clean that core farm. Our options, we'd like to do some tillage, but maybe vertical tillage. That's where you lightly till it to get down the weeds. And it to be in compliance with soil conservation too for that kind of a farm. Because it's a rolling farm, we have to leave some residue out there. But vertical tillage won't get all the weeds, and to really do a good job, we'd have to follow up with some kind of a spray program, a burn down program. Jim Hampton was contacted about doing the tillage. He's familiar with the farm, and there's some wet places out there, and we want to see the farm taken care of, done right. And we looked up university custom rates, and we did an average rate of $18.50, and we all agreed on that rate for hiring some tillage done. But whether it's going to determine whether we get that done. If it stays like it is, that may not get done. So we relied completely on the spray program. We got bids from FS, Nutrient, United Prairie, which is Miller's, and Equity. The committee all separated, and each one got that. And for the burn down program, we come up with $31.24, which we all got together and felt was the best overall program to do the job. So the cost of the tillage on 196 acres would be $36.26, and $3,626. Spray program would be $6,123.04, with a total of $9,749.04. If you remember back in September, the farm was reported as having noxious weeds problem. So we are obligated by Illinois law to clean up this farm. There's no question we can't do something about this. So, another thing, I want to thank the committee. We talked about committee sizes. We increased this committee to 5 people, and everybody worked real well on handling this problem. I commend Bobby, Jeff, Mark, and Brian for working together. So I'm asking for approval from the board to do fall maintenance as the farm committee has recommended for the county farm.
Jesse, can I get those figures again? 3626.
For tillage, 61.
Yeah, 3626 and 612304 for the spray program.
Okay.
So you made a motion?
I'm asking for a motion, yeah.
Did you make the motion?
I made the motion,
Okay.
yeah.
Is there a second? Second by Kenny. Any discussion?
Who was the cheapest on the chemical?
Well, that's not the cheapest program. The cheapest program was if, say if you cut a field of beans, and you have no weeds, and you want to take care of the winter annuals, you're getting down $18 an acre then, but there's no weeds out there then, that's preventing weeds from coming up. We need a burn down program here, and that is always a little more expensive. It's not the most expensive. This was Equity that was, yeah, I'm sorry.
So basically what we're doing is we're taking care of the problem with hopefully the tillage. If we get the flood we're talking about getting this weekend, I don't know if there'll be a chance to get much tillage done on that. So that could be an out, but the tillage, knock it down, come back in with this program of spray, which gives us some burn down this fall to kill anything that's still alive, and it also gives us coverage where weeds won't come up too early in the spring, so that if we do have a custom farm that we pay for everything, next year each pass, this will help mitigate some of the cost on that pass that next spring. If we go some other route, it helps out the person if it's a 50-50. It's still helping us out because we're not paying for that pass. It should be clean, boom, plan. So our options were several that were cheaper. This one we felt was the best bang for the buck as far as the chemical aspect. And if we don't get the tillage done, this can still be used. It can still be used if we get tillage done, where some of the options weren't that flexible. You got anything to add on that, Bobby? I know you've got a little bit more experience with fall spray than myself. But
No, I just had, I was thinking about one other thing that we haven't talked about is, does the board need to designate somebody as more or less the administrator to be a in-between, between the retailer, the guy that does the custom tillage, you know, is that you, or is that Jesse, or?
my personal opinion would be the chairman of the committee. That'd be my personal opinion. That doesn't mean that's me, not the board. So I mean, it could be something that the board could decide at any time. I don't think we could decide today. We can decide the next board meeting because it's not on the agenda today to make that decision. I mean, the agenda item is to okay this program and to move forward on the farm.
So the committee will
Get together,
again
have to talk,
and
and
talk to this, because we'll have to need to make an order of some kind sometime.
I'm following you.
Yes, in a sense, yeah.
We'd have to meet
Pricing.
probably next week again if this goes through, so we can decide. Basically, this is, from what I'm thinking here, this vote will give us the okay, the farm committee okay to have this done. This is how I believe this motion is worded. So we don't really need to go back, come back to the board with another recommendation. We can just go straight as a committee to Equity and Mr. Hampton to do the tillage, and Equity to do the fall spray. That's how I'm reading this motion. Bobby, you accurate with that?
Just a point of clarification though, the chemicals we did gather prices from 4 different companies.
Yes.
The tillage part, when we pulled the price off the university websites, Iowa State, more or less then we contacted the person that knew the farm
Yes.
to make sure he'd be willing to do it, and then come back to the board and say, are you willing to have Jim do it? Jim do the fall tillage, so. The fall tillage wasn't bid, it was actually pulled off the spec sheet. This is the price we're gonna pay, are you willing to do it for that? So,
Any other discussion? Do we want to do a roll call or?
You're spending money. so-
Yep, roll call, we're spending money, thank you, Jessica. Okay, so this is a properly made motion, seconded, to approve the farm committee's recommendations for the county farm for this fall.
Kenny Barr,
Yes.
Teresa Bain,
Yes.
Paul Kennedy.
Yes.
Brian Kaufman.
Yes.
Dennis Sturdivich.
yes.
Jesse Durbin.
Yes.
Gary Gervity.
Yes.
Rod Height.
Yes.
Larry Lenz.
Yes.
Bobby Orman.
Yes.
Gary Patterson.
Yes.
Derek Piercy.
Yes.
John Poe.
Yes.
Robert Simpson.
Yes.
Jeff Slifer.
Yes.
Lynn Williams.
Yes.
Motion passes 16 ayes unanimously.
No other business, correct?
No.
Okay. I want to thank everybody for taking the time out of their day today to come here. I know some have work, some have, thanks Jay.
Yep.
Everything. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you, everybody.
Okay.